going back in?
There's still men out there. God damn. When I go home, people ask me, "Hey, Hoot, why do you do it, man? Why? Just some kind of war junkie?" I won't say a goddamn word. Why? They won't understand. They won't understand why we do it. They won't understand it's about the men next to you. And that's it. That's all it is.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Good knowing exactly where to go with the football.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome into Military Broadcast Radio's Inside the Hoosier Mind, brought to you by MBR, giving a voice to veterans. And we are also in collaboration with Patriot Radio, helping not only give a voice to veterans, but also giving you classics 24/7, as well as helping other military podcasts. And if you like what you see, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of the above, and you can also find us on Roku and Fire Stick as well. It is July 31st. We are coming up to the end of summer, which means we are coming up to the most important time of the year. We are coming up to fall as well as football season. And for that, I'm going to bring in my special guest that is a repeat on the Inside the Hoosier Mind. I'm going to bring in the Shy Kid.
Interview of the week sponsored by LTD Tactical.
Mike, buddy, how are you? What's up, man?
I'm okay. I'm doing
Sorry.
well. It's
Play
okay.
a little background music.
Okay, that's fine then. I didn't know. I was like, did something? I didn't know if the intro was going in. I'm so sorry. I fumbled. No. I'll see you next week. I got it. I'm sorry.
But Mike, buddy, like I said, it's July 31st, which means August is tomorrow, which means we got three of the most important things coming back. We got fall, we got college football, and we got the NFL. All three coming back.
Da
Bears. And speaking of, the very first game of football coming back, albeit the quality of the game may not be the absolute greatest, but we do have the Hall of Fame game with, who is it? The Texans versus Da Bears?
Yes, sir.
At 8 p.m. Eastern time for the Hall of Fame game, which will be something. But obviously, as we know, Caleb is not supposed to play. I highly doubt CJ is going to play. Stephon Diggs probably isn't going to play. We're going to see a lot of Tyson Bagent. I want to put Bagent. Dang it! I was like, I'm gonna put some respect on his name as I disrespect him by saying it incorrectly.
It's okay.
But with that, though, we kind of talked about this a little earlier in some of the shows before. We got a little bit of, are we going to call it a controversy? Because our boy from Da Bears, who just got traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Justin Fields, taking the first team snaps. He's actually going to make a special guest appearance right now. Look at that. Look at that man.
Still on the table. Still on the table. He ain't leaving. He ain't leaving anytime soon.
Right. But he is taking the first team reps with Russell Wilson sidelined due to a calf injury. So he's been taking the first team reps. And apparently the betting odds are he's at plus 400 to be the week 1 starter. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've heard some interesting things from like some of the big mainstream shows, like First Things First talked about it. I will say this that I learned from First Things First. I used to really like Coach Mangini's opinion on some of stuff because he gave kind of a neutral opinion. And then I heard his thoughts on having Russell Wilson and Justin Fields at quarterback. And he's like, you just need to make 2 separate playbooks. Like have a plan for Fields and have a plan for Wilson and then just switch them in and out, whoever has the hot hand. And I'm like, coach, this is why you're not a coach no more. This is why. Like that's a little weird. But
I'm like, I kind of like if we could touch on that for a second. Like it's a nice concept. It's a nice like thought, you know what I mean? But that's if only 2 people have to learn that playbook is Russ and Justin. If I'm a wide receiver and I have to learn 2 fucking NFL size playbooks just for the maybe chance of Justin playing or Russ playing in the other, bro, that's like 2 fucking dictionaries that I gotta read. If I'm a rookie, I'm shitting my pants over 2 playbooks. So like,
yeah,
I can understand schematically, like, hey man, like here's our Wildcat stuff, here's this and this, but 2 playbooks is crazy work.
Yeah. Well, and the way he said it too, he said, why don't we do it like a super simplified version? And even then I'm in the same boat as you. I'm like, well, I'm not going to say the play style is similar, but it's gonna be because Russ is going to have to be, right there as far as being in the pocket. He's not going to be able to be as mobile anymore. Fields, as you and I have both kind of seen, especially with just some of the workout videos that he did with our soon-to-be next topic guy of Jordan Love, you could see some of that confidence and whatnot has been like shattered. And he's got to rebuild himself as a quarterback. So it's like, why would you ever put yourself in that situation? And to me, this is just looking at it from the outside in. You as a former, football player, tell me what you think. What does it do to your confidence if, hey, this guy's got the hot hand at the moment. We're going to go with him. You go keep the bench warm. You bring him a water. You bring him a towel, whatever you got to do. I don't know if they'd be that disrespectful, but you know what I mean? And vice versa. Like, oh, hey, I have one bad game. This guy comes in and saves the day, which is cool because as a team you win then. But then at the end of the day, you're also kind of sitting here looking at it like, wait a minute, you just tossed me to the side so fast.
Yeah.
And now I'm just SOL.
I mean, that kind of happened to Justin last season with Tyson Bagent. Tyson wins 2 games with the Bears last year on a horrible Bears squad. You know what I mean? So, and that was, I believe, Tyson Bagent was, he broke the almost 1-year streak of the Bears not winning a football game. That we almost went 365 days without a Bears win. And Tyson Bagent was the one who broke that, not Justin Fields. So, it definitely, like, Justin took that to the chin very well. And I think he was a great teammate in there, and he was supportive of Bagent. He wanted to see him have success. From what we understand, myself, and a lot of the other NFL fan bases, Russ is not going for that. Russ is not in your best interest. Russ does not care about anything other than Russ and Sierra. And that's just really what it is at the end of the day. So I think, I don't think Russ will take that in stride. I don't think he'll unlimited. I don't think he's going to be up for, riding the bench anytime soon. As far as everything else, being a former player, it's like, listen, I'm a high school football player at the end of the day. So like nothing higher. So the only thing that ever pissed me off was I was one of the co-captains of my defense senior year, and we had a new head coach, and I went from starting safety for the last 3 years to I'm going to put him at corner. And if you ever remember the Titans, that was the most Ryan Gosling move you could have ever did. I'm going to hit you, brother. Trust. I'm going to knock somebody out 100%. But if you, hey, listen, bro, we're in the heart of Chicago. We got 6-foot dudes left and right. Like, I'm 5'8". Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know why I felt some type of way about it. And it definitely does, like, I know that's change of position, and that's a whole different conversation. But according to, we got a whole other conversation about Justin Fields and EA Sports that got some beef. But shout out the marketing team. But
I know.
Yeah, no, I it's definitely frustration, and it's definitely probably one of those things where it's like you have to remember who you are at the end of the day. You know, my favorite saying lately is keep the main thing the main thing. I love that.
Mhm.
I think it's dude, like I forgot who said that recently, and I heard it and I was like, I've heard it before, but somebody said it in a certain way, and I was just
Mhm.
like, you know what? Keep the the main
Main
thing.
thing.
And I was like, let's just keep doing what we're doing. But unfortunately, when you're somebody like Russ, you know, you have that control, I
Mhm.
guess, in a way, because it's like, okay, well, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing and hopefully get our way back into a starting role if Justin Fields were to become QB1, JF1 again, not JF2. Um,
Right.
but you know, Tone, to throw it back to you, like, you know, if Russ was to get benched or not start the season, I don't think it would take too long for him to walk into the front office and start demanding being a starter again. And I think that's where, you know, where we talk about competitive drive, talk about guys earning their spot. Russ
Mhm.
kind of has the pedigree, and he definitely has that mentality of, no, I'm going to get this. And whether you
Yeah.
deserve it or not, he is going to make a stink about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I want your thoughts too, because obviously we know very well what happened with Justin Fields and Dip Ayers. Like he
It's
was
great.
never really set up for success as far as
Yeah.
offensive talent being put around him. Now he had a lot of good defensive talent, but the defense can only play so much before trying to compensate for the offense, and that just wasn't the case. But if you're Pittsburgh, like Pittsburgh has the opportunity now that they do have a good offensive line. They have pretty decent weapons as far as, George Pickens. They got Roman Wilson out of Michigan. You've got Najee Harris in the backfield, and then they have an even on paper an absolutely monstrous stacked defense.
Brandon Ayuk
Potentially by Brandon Ayuk.
on the way.
Um,
Hasn't shipped yet, but he's on the way.
but if I'm but let's play a hypothetical. If you're the GM of Pittsburgh, right?
Mhm.
And you get Russell Wilson, you only got to pay him $1.2 million because that's the veteran minimum. Broncos are
Mhm.
paying basically everything else.
Yeah.
You look at the last 3 seasons for Russ, it has not been good. In Seattle in 2021, he went 6 of 8 through 3,100 yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 picks. The first year in Denver, he went 4 and 11 through 3,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, 11 picks. And then last year had a quote unquote revival under Sean Payton. He went 7 and 8 through 26 touchdowns and 8 picks. Like, if you're looking at that, you're like, okay, you're more polished as far as you've had more long-term success in the beginning part of your career.
Yeah.
But now, ever since post-COVID Seattle, you haven't been bad, but you're not the Russ that we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of questions before Sean Payton even got there. Do you even still have it?
Right.
If you're Pittsburgh, do you look at it and say, let's go with this guy because he's more proven? Or do you look at Justin Fields and say, you know what? This kid also has some experience. It may not be the greatest, but he has experience, and we could potentially have him as our starter for the next 10 years if we feel like we give him a chance, right now. Do you what would you do if you're the GM? Like, would you pick one? Would you kind of do it the old school way, like Russ, you're the guy until you basically screw up and then you're out, you're done because we don't really have to pay you anything, and then Justin's the guy? Or do you think Justin, hey, new spot, new team, you're younger, you're healthier, there's more upside potential with you than with Russ?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the general manager, I'm not even answering your question. I'm firing Arthur Smith today, and I don't care. I don't care who I hire. I'm hiring somebody else because I think this is going to be the same issue, no matter it's Russ, no matter it's Justin. This is Arthur Smith, who completely ignored Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, and I promise you, both of them are going to be some of the more premier players at their position this season. And that's not because it took them a while to figure it out. It's because you would rather hit the backup tight end and Cordell Patterson than 2 of these fucking dogs. And you had Drake London and all these other guys too. I get it. You know what I mean? You had Ritter, and that's not great, but it's like,
Right.
you could have then you don't like Ritter, fine, then run the ball with Bijan. So like same issue here with being in the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. I don't know if he's going to be able to utilize Justin Fields to the best capability, and I don't know if he'll have the respect of Russell Wilson, and if Russell Wilson will even want to deal with it. I think it'll be like a very Jay Cutler, like, man, fuck that. Like Jay just walked off, like, I'm not doing that play, just like he used to in the Chicago Bears organization. But Justin Fields knows damn well what it's like to have horrible offensive coordinating play with Luke Getsy. So I think Justin's going to keep, the main thing, keep doing what he's doing, try to be the best teammate possible, try to make plays where you can. We saw that video with Jordan Love, and the footwork just looked just like, this little bobblehead statue. He looked like a statue. I mean, the footwork was horrible from Justin Fields. I will say, to your question about which quarterback I'd rock out with, you look at the Bears last year blowing that lead they had to the Denver Broncos, 31-28 loss. The Bears would have got their first win of the year. Justin Fields throws the game-losing interception, which in my opinion was on Cole Kmet, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. But this was a Broncos team that just got bodied the week before 70-20 by 50 points from the Miami Dolphins. You look at the stats, look at what we went through this year. I don't think Russell Wilson really had the greatest supporting cast either. Jerry Jeudy kind of hasn't turned into who a lot of people thought Jerry Jeudy could have been. Whether that's Russ or not, it's just the facts. Don't be mad at me. Like, it's just, I'm a big Jerry Jeudy fan, but I haven't really liked the attitude thus far and kind of the way he's gone about it. But you have 3,070 yards from Russell Wilson in 2023, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Pretty great year. I mean, if you really, I'm not a top 3 quarterback, top 10 quarterback, but a pretty great year nonetheless. And then you look at Justin Fields on the other end after missing some games, 2,562 yards, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. So obviously, let's assume that Darnell Mooney knows how to catch a football just a few times, and maybe he hits 20 touchdowns.
Especially with that Cleveland game where he could have.
Next. But you know what? Number one pick.
That's true.
And Roma Dunze, so I'm okay.
Roma Dunze, exactly.
It was the script. But I think for myself, I think you have to talk about the stats, and then you have to talk about how you feel. So that was the stats. I think the stats would say that you're rocking out with Russ from a winning perspective. But I think for myself and what I've seen from Mike Tomlin over the last plus years I've been alive, I think for me, I think he's going to go with who's best for this locker room, who's best for this offense, who's going to help put guys in position to have success and also be uplifting to his teammates. I think they've dealt with a lot of guys who, didn't want to be a team player, who didn't want to be there, like Kenny Pickett. They had a lot of issues with him. Mason Rudolph, the man was a human dummy for Myles Garrett. So, there's been a lot of guys coming in and out. If Russell Wilson is this prima donna diva that a lot of people say he is, saying, "Oh, I need a special space on the plane. Nobody can have my cell phone number." And Marshawn Lynch doesn't even have my cell phone number. If that's the case, I'm rocking out with Justin, and I don't think twice about it. But obviously, you have to take into account who's going to help you win games, because, as much as we like talking about Tomlin never having a losing season, you've had a lot of 500 seasons lately. So you got to start winning playoff games. You got TJ Watt. You got all these dogs on the defense. Got to start winning games. So I would, myself personally, as biased as I am, I'm going to continue to be biased. I'm going to say I'd start Justin Fields.
Okay. Well,
saw him air some stuff out too, by the way, in camp so far. He's throwing the deep ball a lot.
That's true. So we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back. This commercial is brought to you by J&J Beard Co. If you want to have a great beard like how Mike and I have, you got to check out J&J Beard Co. They are a veteran-owned and veteran-organized beard company. They have all sorts of different types of scents and whatnot to help your beard be phenomenal and great, just like Mike and I's. And when we come back, we're going to talk about my quote-unquote favorite quarterback in Jordan Love. And Mike, of all people, is going to be my voice of reason, even though I still promise I'm going to try to do as little, minuscule bit of hating that I can and be as neutral as I can when we come back.
Introducing J&J Beard Co., your go-to destination for high-quality handmade and natural beard products. Our family-owned business, based in New Jersey, prides itself on using the finest ingredients to bring you premium products that will elevate your grooming routine. Each product is carefully crafted with love and expertise, ensuring that you get the best hair for your beard. Treat yourself to the luxury of J&J Beard Co. and experience the difference that true quality and craftsmanship can make for your beard. Join the J&J Beard Co. family today and unleash the full potential of your facial hair with our exceptional products. Find them on the web at jjbeardco.com. That's jjbeardco.com.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Inside the Hoosier Mind, brought to you by Military Broadcast Radio in collaboration with Patriot Radio, helping give veterans a voice, helping them be heard, as well as playing all of your favorite classics 24/7 and whatnot. I am back with the Shy Kid, talking some NFL football since, buddy, I am so excited that fall's around the corner. My one of the products that I use actually just dropped their fall scents, and I was so excited. I was like, I used this last year. It's like fall breeze, like apple and pumpkin. I was like, there it is. That's my basic white girl for the day that I gotta get. I gotta make it happen. But for most people that don't know, I was not here last week because I started out in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and then as soon as I left Ann Arbor, I came back home to Indianapolis and then immediately left to go to Columbus, Ohio for a week for work. And now I'm back again. But while all of this happened, we had some really massive contract extensions happen. Tua Tagovailoa got his contract extension. And the one that surprised me the most, not because he got paid, because the amount he got paid and for how long he's getting paid, is Jordan Love. Now, for anybody that's new to the show and doesn't know, I am not a Jordan Love fan. I am not a Packers fan by any stretch of the imagination. So Jordan Love and his agent agreed to a 4-year contract that will pay Love $220 million, including a $75 million signing bonus, with the annual average being $55 million, tying Joe Burrow for the highest yearly salary in the NFL, and the $75 million signing bonus being the highest in NFL history. So, again, I promised Mike, and I'm going to stay true to this, I'm going to try to be as neutrally unbiased and non-hater about this as possible. So, Mike, here's kind of my first thoughts on this, right? Is this... You good? You sure? This guy played for all the games for Green Bay last year, right? And the second half of the season is really when he started to pick up quite a bit. If we look at after the loss to Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers, he ended up going 6-2 in the regular season, got a win in the playoffs against Dallas, and then played a pretty decent game against the 49ers. Are you sure you're good, buddy? Okay. So he finished 7-3 overall, a good playoff win, and then a pretty close playoff loss against the 49ers. Mike, I'm going to ask, how many times have we seen teams pay off of what we just have right now? I don't really want to say a one-hit wonder, like a one-year kind of guy, but that's all we have to sample right now. And after 1 year, they pay him the absolute bag for beating Dallas in the first round, which, let's be realistic, a whole lot of teams beat Dallas in the first round of the playoffs.
Of course.
You kept it close against San Francisco, which is impressive. You know, they were coming off the bye week. They're a little bit rusty. They're trying to get into the groove and whatnot. Packers were on fire. They had all the momentum. Like, I'm not mad that they paid him.
Okay.
Like, to me, again, as a franchise, this is what doesn't make sense, right? If I have a dude that there's a lot of questions, because you remember we talked about it, we joked about it a lot when they were trying to get rid of Aaron before.
A lot of questions.
You know, they don't know, like, is he the guy or not? Is he going to be the guy that can replace Aaron? We won't know until they finally pull the trigger and they finally let him be the starter for the entire year. Man does what he did last year, had a pretty good season. As much as I hate to admit that, statistics don't lie. He had a good season last year. is that worth paying him as much money as Joe Burrow, the guy that in his first full season of starting took his team to the Super Bowl? That's paying him more than Jalen Hurts, who has progressively gotten better each year, took his team to the Super Bowl.
Is he?
Huh?
Is Jalen Hurts getting better I don't know, bro. A lot of those tutties were just getting your ass rubbed last year, but
I mean, you're not wrong.
And Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow just starting to be glass man, and now he's having a midlife crisis. He looks like a member of NSYNC from 1995. But
hey, don't talk about Joe Shady like that.
Hey, man,
Slim Burrow is here to stay.
Listen, I like the Shady album too, but that's crazy work.
Slim Shiesty.
Shiesty. Ew, I like that.
But legitimately, like if I was Green Bay, I would have looked at Jordan and said, "Look, man, I would even make the argument, look, we'll pay you like a 1-year deal. We'll extend you like 1 year. We'll pay you like $50 million because we're not, because again, let's be realistic. If we're going to try to keep you here, we're going to try to show good faith. Obviously, somebody else may or may not potentially offer you more money if they're looking for a quarterback replacement. We'll offer you $50 million. We'll see how it goes. And if you can keep that same success, if not be better, we'll extend you for a more long-term deal, because then at that point you've got 2 full seasons. He's been in the building for now 6 years at that point.
It's crazy work.
When you move forward.
It's crazy work to think that it's been 6 years almost. But
I know.
First, I'm gonna keep the main thing. I had a little moment while you were speaking after. So you let me know when we're done with this topic, and I will inform you on what it is NFL related. It is NFL related. But I'm going to keep the main thing, as hard as that is. Reed, 2023, 793 receiving yards. Romeo Dobbs, 674. Wicks, who I don't even know who his first name is, 581. Christian Watson, who missed the majority of the season, had 422. With that being said, now you look at Jordan Love, who in his first season in getting all of those wide receivers, all of those touches, obviously Aaron Jones as well, great tight end play, Matt LaFleur at the helm, but had a better year statistically than any Chicago Bears quarterback in franchise history. Over 4,000 yards, which is something no Chicago Bear quarterback has ever done. Not even Justin Fields, with a combination of, passing yards and rushing yards, still hasn't done it. 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Tony, I hate when you make me do this, because I have to actually be so I have a Chicago Bear logo tattooed on my wrist.
You do.
I'm not sitting here trying to act like, they're better than us. But when you have the track record of having success at this versus the track record of Chicago Bears quarterback play, it's Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, we're talking all these different guys. We can go down the list. Jay Cutler, if you even want to throw him in there. So when I look at Caleb Williams, number 1 pick, I'm like, man, history's past has told me this isn't going to work. But when I look in Green Bay and I go, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, history's past has told me that they know when they know they have their guy. And remember when they had people forget it wasn't just Jordan, baby. They tried with DeShone Kizer. DeShone Kizer. Khalil Mack took that boy out the NFL, was never seen again. But man, I think I get it. If you believe that's your guy, that's your guy. And to your point about Joe, bigger sample size before Burrow got paid, but hasn't really lived up to that. Trevor Lawrence didn't do a damn fucking thing to earn his contract, and he got his contract. Sunshine's just been hanging out with his girlfriend, who looks identical to him. And it's been crazy, but it's crazy. No Diddy. I'm with it, Tone. I think it's well deserved. Do I think do I think it could bite you in the ass? It sure as well can. I definitely think it can. But as the market continues to go up, I think it's a weird one. It's a weird situation, because you don't see stuff like this happen a lot. You know what I mean? There's not usually guys who sit for the first 3 years of their contract, or you know what I mean? And that was one of the biggest issues, was really trying to comprehend, like, okay, well, what is he worth? Because we've only seen
Right.
one season, but in that same breath, they've seen him for 3-4 years now. We've only seen him for one full season. So I think that's where seeing him every single day, being in the building, getting to talk to him, speak to him, see where he's at from year 1, 2, 3 to see where he's progressed. They see it every single day. You and I have only seen 17 days worth of Jordan Love, maybe a little extra after that, because he did play a little bit in 2022. But that's where I'm at with it. I think they understand who he is because they're in the building with him every day. And if any organization is going to tell me that they found their franchise quarterback again, it's going to be the Green Bay Packers, unfortunately.
Here's where I agree that I think it's weird, but again, they did it before. It's just weird how they've kind of gone about it. And I say that because when you look at when they had Brett Favre and then they drafted Rodgers, like Rodgers coming out of college was considered one of the best quarterbacks in that draft. It was actually surprising that, Alex Smith was taken before him and that he fell to Green Bay at where he did so low in the first round, basically. And with Love, though, like, I'm going to be honest, because you know me, I'm a massive college football fan.
Yeah.
I never heard Jordan Love's name until he got drafted by Green Bay.
Real?
They traded up to get him.
No.
Yeah.
No, are you serious? I knew about Jordan Love.
I didn't. I was like, I don't
know. Not from to your fairness, like not from like a winning perspective,
right?
But like your problem was you were a Cowboys fan at that time. I was a Bears fan. So in my mind, I'm always checking out the quarterbacks. I'm always like, hey man, could we, I loved Jordan Love. Like, unfortunately, I told you that I was like, I gotta hate this kid now. Like, I can't love Love. Like, that sucks.
When he was at Utah State?
Yeah, I mean, I thought there was a lot of, I don't know. I'm a big draft guy. And I think where I'm no Mel Kiper, I give no fucks about the second day or third day offensive lineman or defensive lineman, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, like, DBs. I mean, that's the jelly to my jam. I love it. So like, that's I definitely, the big monies. I was like hot when they drafted Jordan Love. I was like, I liked his athleticism. I thought I'm going to be honest, and this is I hope no one clips this. I thought he was the next Marcus Mariota, and I thought that was going to be fun. But he's done a lot better, obviously, than Marcus Mariota, but that's where I was at the time. Whereas I was like, this is a cool kid. I like him.
So since you followed a little bit more, I'm not going to say like as diehard, but
it wasn't religious. It wasn't religious or anything.
What, like, did you hear other teams or did you just see that Green Bay was interested? Because again, when I look at Utah State and I kind of look back at it, it's like, man, like, yeah, it's Utah State. It's a Group 5 school. He's not going to be like coming out just, wowing everybody. He didn't really do that in college, but it's like, I don't know if anybody else other than Green Bay was like, man, this guy is a first round talent. Now, to your point, there was probably people like, man, we might be able to get him in like the second or third round even.
Right.
And get him as like a backup and developing. But, like much to your point, Green Bay obviously saw something at least early on. We're like, all right, let's go get him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to be so honest. Like you kind of mentioned that, and maybe you meant it that way, maybe you didn't. Like, I had no idea Green Bay was even interested. Like, I was like, when that happened, I was, like I was hot for Rod. I mean, you just came off an NFC Championship loss, another one. Robbie Gold sent him home. Come on, kid. But in all seriousness, like, you coming off an NFC Championship loss, there were still some pretty. I'm looking at the list right now. Give me 2 seconds, please. Chat, please give me 2 seconds of your time. I'm looking at it for what it is and being like, you really break down who was still left on that board, and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of wild when you really look at it, because it's like, dang, bro, like, Patrick Queen was there, obviously linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens right now. Obviously, there's other ones like DeAndre Swift, Xavier McKinney, Jonathan Taylor. Not a whole, Trevon Diggs, Jalen Hurts was there. And Jalen Hurts is the more interesting one, because it's like they get Jalen Hurts at 53 overall. Obviously, I'm reading that off my phone right now, but regardless, don't matter. You're looking at that and you're like, dang, bro, like, imagine if they would have drafted Jalen Hurts, I would have been hot. To get him at 26, and you already have CeeDee Lamb off the board, Justin Jefferson off the board. Shout out to the Eagles who took Jalen Reagor.
They say Jalen Reagor. Don't forget about the man out of TCU.
And, I think one could argue, 25 overall, San Francisco 49ers, who had just beaten them to go to the Super Bowl, end up taking Brandon Ayuk 25th overall. And I think you may have that conversation that maybe they would have took Brandon Ayuk and kept Rodgers had he fallen to 26, just one slot away. Who knows? But there really wasn't a lot of great offensive weapons, I guess. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You could argue T. Higgins. There were good players. Don't get it twisted. But in that same breath, I mean, what T. Higgins, who's a number 2. I'm high on T. Higgins. I wanted him to be a Bear. But I think franchise quarterback. I mean, Michael Pittman was there as well. Actually, now that I look at this list, there were hella wide receivers.
I was gonna say, I think. Well, here's where I think you're trying to go with it. Is it's like we really didn't know how some of these guys were going to pan out when they come into the NFL. But for the most part, if you look at something like wide receiver and running back, for the most part, that correlates and translates over pretty well, because a lot of these, especially the Power 5 programs, they already kind of run a lot of these pro style offenses. So these guys are usually pretty well set, just depending on what organization they go to with what quarterback. They may or may not have a good career. Like I love Malik Neighbors. That man's going to suffer with Danny Dimes. Another guy, after one good year, now albeit Daniel Jones started more games and got the crap kicked out of him.
With the Duke.
Had one good year and he got the bag for it too.
Yeah.
So shout out to these agents for being able to do that.
I mean, it's interesting though, but to your point, this is the last point I wanted to make, because I don't know really where I was going with that. I had something to say, and then I was like, holy shit, never mind. But you have all these guys in front of you, and I think that's where we were all at, was maybe one of these guys, Michael Pittman Jr., T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, somebody is going to end up in a Green Bay Packer uniform at that moment. I don't think going into the draft, I thought to be honest, I thought Justin Jefferson was going to go a lot earlier, and that's because I watched a lot of LSU games. Obviously, go Tigers!
Go Tigers.
I mean, I'm a Volunteers fan, but hey, when I'm on Tony's show, go Tigers! GBO. I think it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, if you would have told me that the Green Bay Packers 26 overall selected Jalen Hurts, I would have said, okay, Boomer Sooner makes sense. Did his thing, worked with a little bit with Nick Saban as well. I did not. In that moment, I was kind of like, I remember I laughed at it. I was like, Jordan. I laughed because I knew it meant the end for Aaron Rodgers. And unfortunately, what I failed to think was maybe this is the start of something new. But whatever.
Right. Like I said, the only thing that, again, I kind of laugh at Green Bay because they did this to themselves again. They super paid for a dude. Now, again, the benefit is that they have, a lot of these guys are young, so they don't necessarily have to worry about getting paid at the current moment. But man, you paid this guy so much money, especially when you've had kind of the same thing before.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, though, I think it's a bit of a mistake in the fact of you pay this dude all this money. He's had one good year so far, so it's like I don't know how big the sample size is for him to be able to go off of. So that to me is really the only part where I was like, man, I don't know if I would necessarily do that, of paying this guy that much money when you have 1 year of sample size, and realistically you only had half a year of truly good, solid NFL play. So you saw his growth, and I'm not going to deny that, but to pay that much money over guys that have technically gone farther because they've started more, which I'm not going to fault you, because you weren't going to overtake Aaron Rodgers, even though they did do that to Brett. When Brett was like, man, I think I'm going to retire. Then they're like, well, you can be Aaron's backup. I'm like, man, the disrespect. Now, Brett obviously ended up having 2 more good years out of that.
Yeah.
One for sure with
Minnesota. Yeah.
But it's after that, it's like, nah, I don't know, man. He had one good year, but
that might be the same case with Aaron too. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen this year, but he played a whopping 75 seconds in 2023. So we'll see what happens this year. Yeah. But, to that breath though, too, it's interesting because I can definitely get behind, okay, well, Rodgers is going to foresee, Brett, and that's just what's going to happen. And then we'll extend Rodgers to a decent contract. But Rodgers was never immediately the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. And that's where Jordan Love is right now after one season. So it is wild. Really quick, Tony, can I tell you what I was going to tell you?
By all means.
Man, I don't even know how to start this conversation. So NFL is dropping their top 100. And what the fuck, man? You got Justin Jefferson ranked 18th overall in the NFL. 18. He is guys ahead of Justin Jefferson. The top 10 has not been released. Justin Jefferson is number 18. Roquan Smith, shout out to him. Number 19. CJ Stroud is 20. Let's go 17 back. Guys better than Justin Jefferson. Micah Parsons. Then you have Dak Prescott. Then you have Jalen Hurts, George Kittle, CD Lamb,
Josh
Allen.
Oh, and Fred Warner.
Shout out Fred Warner. But Fred Warner is a dog. I will give him that. But what the fuck are we talking about? 18? 18.
So we'll take a real quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll jump into it because that's going to be our last topic, is how screwed up this NFL top 100 list is, because it's not just Justin. It's so many other guys. I'm like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but we'll dive into it. We'll dive into it here. We'll dive into it right when we come back. All right, welcome back in, everyone, to Inside the Hoosier Mind, brought to you in part by Military Broadcast Radio in collaboration with Patriot Radio, helping give veterans a voice. If you like what you see, hit that little QR code right underneath Mike. You can scan that to find out more about MBR Radio, as well as Patriot Radio, as well as myself, Inside the Hoosier Mind, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of that. And if you like everything that Mike is saying as far as defending Jordan Love and whatnot, even though he's only doing that because I'm a hater, and Mike has to be the true unbiased nature here. So that's the only reason why Mike is doing it, which is crazy. As a diehard Bears fan, Mike is having to be the voice of reason here. Follow him at the Shy Kid. He's great. Lots of Bears content. Got Bears. Lots of Bulls content. Lot of Cubbies content. And if you are a fan of the WNBA, not just a bum named Caitlin Clark. I really can't even say that. She's not a bum. She's statistically good. I just don't like Caitlin Clark personally. But you can also cover, but he also covers Angel Reese, Camilla Cardoso. There we go. I got it. For the Chicago Sky. I tried, man. I tried.
Hey, good enough. We'll take it.
But before we broke into commercial break, the NFL Top 100 list has been an absolute joke the entire time this list has been dropped. So Mike brought up something before we dive into some of the other atrocities that have been brought up. Mike brought up the fact that for anybody who may not be the biggest sports fanatic or watch a lot of football, Aaron Rodgers played 4 snaps, okay? He only got to touch the football 4 times in an official NFL game last year before he ruptured his Achilles. He was voted the 92nd best player out of 100. and the man didn't do shit for 75 seconds that he was on the field. He didn't throw a pass. He didn't run the ball. He got sacked. No, he didn't even get sacked. He was running and ruptured his Achilles. But he's number 92 on the list. Blows my mind. Deron Bland statistically had a great year last year, put ahead of Sauce Gardner on the defensive back list. Now, again, I know we just talked about it, but I feel like it has to be said because it's honestly disrespectful to the other two gents.
Man.
Joe Burrow was at, I think, 39?
Something like that.
Tua's, I think, at 36. Tua led the league in passing yards last year in that very prolific Dolphins offense.
But Josh Allen's number 12.
Josh Allen's number 12. Jordan Love, I think, is number 32. So he's ahead of Joe Burrow and Tua. And I'm like, and then much to your point, Justin Jefferson is ranked below.
Justin fucking Jefferson is ranked
below CeeDee Lamb and Dak and Micah.
Justin fucking Jefferson is 18th. What are we like? What are you even talking about, brother? Like, did you watch receiver? Like, do you see the aura? Like, if you know about it, you know about it. Like this, like I'm a Bears fan, bro. This guy shits 200 yards on us a game. We see him twice. He's got damn near half the amount of receiving yards that Justin Fields has passing. What are you talking about? Like, it doesn't like 18th.
I do have.
You have Joshua fucking Dobbs and Kirk Cousins on one Achilles throwing the ball to you, and he's shitting out 1,000+ yard seasons, hitting the gritty. I mean, this guy is on trajectory, Tony. This is not an understatement. On trajectory to be one of the best, if not the best wide receiver of all time, and you put him at 18th because the Vikings jerseys look funny. Get the fuck out. Josh Allen's at 12? For what?
Oh, I don't know why I had to look real quick. I was like, wait a minute, because if they did something stupid, I was like, where's Jamar Chase at? Jamar Chase is number 45. Okay, so never mind.
What is the lit? What like? Okay, no, but like, what fucks me up? Part of my language to everyone in the chat and everyone here. But like, what's grinding my gears is like, what are we basing it off of? Okay, because look, you had a bad, let's say, two wide receivers that had a bad 2023 statistically, sure, based off of what we're traditionally used to seeing. Jamar Chase didn't have a great year because Joe Burrow was out. Justin Jefferson's year went to shit because Kirk Cousins decided his Achilles hurt. And then you're looking at it. Okay, let's talk about 2024. We're gonna say that Justin Jefferson is 18th because he has bad quarterback play. But Jamar Chase is 40 and he has Joe Burrow back and he looks like Slim Shady? Like, what are the standards? What are we talking about, bro? And Josh Allen loses everybody and he's 12.
Yep. And you have to take two. So now we got to look at, so if I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. So obviously Patrick Mahomes is going to be in the top 10. We know that.
You think he'll be one? You think he's one? You think they give it to Christian McCaffrey?
Actually, I think there's one other name they might give it to just because of how stupid they've made this list.
Talk to me.
How much you want to bet Lamar going to be number one because he won MVP? Like, I don't feel like that's too far out of the question. I don't agree with it, but I feel like it's right there. Like they could do it. They could. I feel like it's a toss up between Patty, Christian, or Lamar for top three.
Yeah, I don't think they will because Mahomes is their boy. You know what I mean? Like, and he's already got the Kermit the Frog shit going on in Vegas right now. So I think he already has way, way too much motivation for this season. He does not need to be slighted. His ego has taken too many hits this offseason.
I don't know, man. Aaron Rodgers plays 4 snaps. They put him in 92. They said this man who didn't even play a season is still 8 spots better than 8 other current NFL players that probably played a full season.
You're going to tell me right now that Aaron Rodgers in 75 seconds had a better season than Joe Flacco off the couch? You're crazy. But I like Rodgers still being there just because this is a multiple-time MVP. You understand who Aaron Rodgers is. It makes sense, but again, we're talking about the criteria. What is the criteria in the NFL's top 100? Because if he plays 75 seconds and he's 92, how the fuck is Jamar Chase 40 something and Josh Allen 12 and all this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't. I don't get it.
So here's the 8 players behind Rodgers. You got Zaire Franklin from the Colts.
Sure.
Which I can kind of get that. You got Levante David from the Bucks.
Sure, he's old as fuck.
Cameron Hayward from the Steelers.
Old as fuck.
The one I feel like is the biggest disrespect, Terry McLaurin, who
Terry
with terrible not terrible wide receiver, terrible quarterback play.
Terrible wide receivers though too. Next to him, he's the only thing going on.
He can become the first player to have 5 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons with a different quarterback, and he's had 10 different starting quarterbacks since coming in 2019.
Damn.
He's behind Rodgers.
Free Terry.
Deion Dawkins for Buffalo.
Okay.
Julian Love in Seattle.
Okay.
Our boy Sunshine, he's 2 spots behind him, and Sunshine played the whole damn season.
That doesn't mean he was better though.
And Harrison Smith from the Vikings.
Okay. The only one there, as much as I love Terry, he don't got multiple MVPs in a Super Bowl though. You know what I mean? Like, and Rodgers' MVP is very recent at that same breath too. So
is it though?
It is though.
Like here's
was it 2021, 2022?
2021. Because 2022 was his last year in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And he missed the playoffs, and then last year was a bust with the Jets. So
he what?
It'd be 3, huh?
He did what?
He missed the playoffs.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he missed the playoffs.
Bomb. Like a bomb.
Shout out Jamal Williams.
But I mean, that's kind of the thing, though. Like, if we're going off of stuff that was like 3 years ago,
right?
Like again, same thing for that. I would say that's even more of an argument for Justin Jefferson. Like, why is this man not higher? Like, why are we going off of a dude that, yes, in 2021 he was great. You didn't even do anything of like significance, importance. Like, your last play wasn't even like, here's a bomb to Garrett Wilson for at least a touchdown to give us a lead, and then I'm out for the season.
Right.
Like, you just got hurt, and you're still put ahead of a dude that has constantly been healthy, has had terrible rotating quarterbacks, still gives you 1,000 yards every single year, and is really one of the only bright spots to Washington, other than the Heisman winning quarterback out of LSU, go Tigers, that's currently there as it stands right now.
Yeah, and it's also like, you look at it, and Justin Jefferson's breaking records. I mean, the most receiving yards in the first 3 seasons of an NFL career, and what he's been able to do, the intangibles of what he means. I mean, this guy had over 1,000 yards with only 68 receptions. I mean, let's do math. Like, let's talk about that. It's fucking insane. And I will say, to your point though, there is inconsistencies in what you're saying. But it's not because of you, it's because of the list. You know what I mean? Like, we can be mad that Aaron Rodgers is at 90, but then why is Joe Burrow where Joe Burrow is in the 30s? Joe Burrow barely played the fucking season too. Like, and I get it, he had 2,000 yards, but let's be real. Joe Burrow, 15 and 6 touchdown interception ratio, 2,309 yards. That's correct, right? So, but also in that same breath, let's talk about Justin Fields, who damn near has identical numbers and then isn't in the top 100 at all. Yeah. So, so Justin Fields and Joe Burrow have damn near identical stats, which, let me pull up Justin Fields really quick, because I know we talked about it earlier in the show, but I lost it. Justin Fields, holy shit, Tone. He has 1 more passing touchdown. He has more rushing touchdowns. He has 2,562 passing yards to Joe Burrow's 2,309 passing yards. He has a 15 and 6 touchdown interception ratio to Joe Burrow. Justin Fields has 16 and 9, like I said, with hella rushing touchdowns. I believe he had like 8. So you're looking at over 20 total touchdowns, more passing yards, and he's not in the top 100, but Joe Burrow is over the top 50. So where's Joshua Dobbs? Where's Joe Flacco? Where's Justin Fields? What do we like? I'm not trying to meat ride JF1, but like, what are we talking about?
Well, and let's look at this too, as far as inconsistencies, because what are they looking at and considering when it comes to where they're ranking these people? Because again, even though I may not be a Cowboys fan anymore, if we're looking at Dak and Jalen last year, why is Jalen ahead of Dak when statistically Dak had him beat in damn near everything, had a better record? Now, I mean, they still ended the same way as far as playoffs goes, but technically Dak won his division.
Right.
And to give to give everybody else an idea, Dak threw for 4,500 yards last year, 4,516. He had 36 touchdowns, which was a career high. He had 9 interceptions, so 4 touchdown to 1 interception ratio last year, as compared to Hurts, who threw 3,858 yards, threw 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, but had 15 touchdowns on the ground.
No, fuck that.
Whereas Dak only had 2.
Jason Kelce had 15 touchdowns on the ground, sir. He was just slamming that ass into the end zone.
That man was getting dog piled on constantly, just for no reason.
That's why the man retired early. But I don't know. Sometimes I wonder like where the voting, like how serious is the top 100? Like, do you think so like think about it, right? I come into your office the beginning of June. I go, hey Tone, it's time to start doing this again. And you're like, okay. Then you start typing on your computer again. A couple weeks go by. Hey Tone, we really got to start getting work on this. And you go, okay. And then, about 40 to 24 hours before it's due, you and I just sit down and we just shoot the shit and we just say who goes where. And I think that's really just where it comes down to. I don't think they really base it. I don't think there's a vote, a committee, nothing. I think they just go in there and they have 2 guys just like, yeah, man, makes sense.
You know what I kind of think it is? I think it's more of a popularity contest more than anything.
Yeah, it could be that too.
Because again, you like how we talked about, Joe Burrow was out for more than half of the season. He's in the top 40. Aaron plays 4 snaps. He's supposedly better than honestly consistently underrated wide receiver, in my opinion. Now, all the other guys, yeah, I can make an argument. Yeah, they might have had more of an impact, but they're not making as big of an impact as Rodgers technically would. But it's like, man, you can't be going just off of like past accolades. You can't be going off of like, oh man, I kind of like this guy better, so he should be like,
right.
He should be like number 10, where like, JJ over here have to deal with perk thuggins and non-perk thuggins.
Right.
And sitting at 18.
I mean, yeah, and then Josh Allen in that same breath, 29 and 18 interceptions. 18 interceptions. How many turnovers in total when it comes to the fumbles for Josh Allen? Probably over 20 and in total. And you're like, how are you ahead of Dak and Hurts and Burrow and Rodgers and Tua, and especially Tua, because Tua, like you said, leading the league in passing yards just gets ignored. Like, I can understand, oh, well, yeah, we're not really going to give it to Jordan Love quite yet because it was only 1 season. Fine, cool. Tua's been around. Tua's been throwing up gang signs and concussion protocol for the last 2 years. And man, I mean, that man's been taking some hits. But, it's fuck this list, Tony. I almost got off of the show not saying a single swear. And Justin Jefferson at 18 just sent me over Justin Jefferson ranked in the NFL as his jersey number is I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah. But like I said, we do at least know TJ's going to be in the top 10 because if I remember right, I didn't see his names. TJ's going to be up there. We know Patty. We know
Christian. Got hurt.
Huh?
But he got hurt.
Oh, that don't matter.
Okay. It only matters if you're in 90 to 80 range. That's when it matters. Okay. Got it.
That's true. Because you still got to be up there. Yeah. Oh, you still put up 1,000 yards with only 68 receptions? You ain't even top 10, homie. You ain't even top 10. You barely top 20. Yeah, you barely top 20.
Come on, bro. Get out of here, bro. And TJ's like, oh, yeah, I know you tore like every ligament in your body and kind of folded at the end of the year. You were the reason your team didn't make the playoffs. But you're JJ's brother. Oh, yeah, we'll give it to him. White guy who plays defense. Let's love it. Like, and I'm a white guy, and I love defense. But come on, bro. Like, oh.
I thought it was weird, too. Did you see how low they had A.J. Brown?
I did. I did. Like, I kind of understood it, though, just because the first half of the season, I felt like he was just non-existent. Like, Jalen Hurts and him just did not have that connection. But, like, and also, where the fuck is DJ Moore? Where's Jalen Johnson? Jalen Johnson's one of the lockdown corners of the league. You want to tell me he's top 10? Is DJ Moore top 10 then? Because I don't think you're going to put him in the top 10.
I don't either.
I think maybe Jalen Johnson gets 10.
Because you got to think, you still got Miles, you still got TJ, you got Mahomes, you got Lamar, you got CMC. Ayuk hasn't been listed yet, has he?
I think he did.
Did he? I know Debo did.
Kittle just went too.
Kittle. What about Trent Williams? Is Trent Williams on there?
Oh, Travis Kelce hasn't been listed either.
Kelce. Zach Martin. I don't know if maybe they would include Zach Martin on there or not.
Nah, old linemen don't get love. But
that's true. Facts.
These are real positions. No, I'm kidding.
Facts. But still, man, I don't know, man. That's at least like 8 players I can think of. Is like
that means Jalen Johnson, who is the highest paid corner in football, is not in the top 100. DJ Moore, who had a career year, 1,300 yards. Keenan Allen, who had a career year, is not in the top 100.
Yep. But a guy that plays 4 snaps is.
What the fuck? What is the list? Like, what's the criteria? I just want to know. NFL, I just want to know. What's the criteria?
There is no criteria. It's like Fight Club. You just don't talk about it. It just happens. Like, nah, they're top 100. It's fine.
It's fine. Wait, but what about?
Shh. Don't worry about it. We don't use logic here, sir. We don't use logic here. But buddy, it's been fun as always. Loved having you on. Appreciate it. Had to send you off with kind of a funny good night on that one because I was like, man, this, yeah, because it's bad when even Nick Wright was like, this list is an atrocity. This list is a joke. Like everybody has pretty much been like, this list is an absolute joke.
And honestly, it was a topic we had, but it was unplanned in the time in which it did because we didn't even know about the Justin Jefferson. It just came out as we were on here. You can even what was it? 20 something minutes in, you could see my live reaction to Justin Jefferson being 18. And I proud of myself. Credit to me for biting my tongue and getting through the Jordan Love segment because we had a great second half. But thank you for having me on, buddy.
No, of course. Appreciate you having me on. Like I said, if everybody likes what you saw from Mike tonight, check out the Shy Kid. He is awesome. Check me out on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of it, as well as my gracious host of Military Broadcast Radio, right underneath Mike, MBR, as well as Patriot Radio, helping give veterans a voice as well as listening to these classes 24/7. Appreciate y'all. I will be back as football starts. Have a couple preseason games we could potentially go over, do some college breakdown beforehand. It'll be fun. We got fallback, we got football fact. Woo! I'll be excited.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcasts.